Okay, Michael Owen, well, seemingly in a blink of an eye, you have come and you have gone. And yet, so much has happened. I mean, the first question is, can you believe it's gone so quickly? Or actually for you, no, there really was a long career there.
Well, I suppose it was a long career. I stayed at the top from start to finish. I made my debut way back in '97 as a 17-year-old. So, yeah, a career that I look back on with a lot of pride. A couple of little, I don't know whether regrets is the right word, but a couple of things I think, what might have been. But in general, no, I'm retiring a very happy man.
The thing about sport is it can smack you in the chops, and then when you're down, it can pick you up again, can't it? And I would suggest you had a lot more highs and lows, but the highs and lows are part of a career, aren't they?
Oh well, it's not an exciting career if it's all high or all low or whatever it might be. So the ups and downs are a part of it, and it just, when you've had a couple of downs, it makes the ups even more exciting and worthwhile. And I certainly had a bit of everything. Really, it was a great career.
A lot of people develop and grow and are at their best when they're in their late 20s or so, but you, sir, hit the ground running as a kid, really. Looking back, was that a great thing, or did that make it hard because there was expectation from pretty much day one?
Well, a bit of both, really. I mean, certainly, everyone comes in different shapes and sizes and are ready at different times, and I was both physically but more importantly mentally ready at such a young age. Had massive amount of confidence and self-belief that I could play in any environment on any stage and strut my stuff on those stages. And I certainly believe that I would have continued to do that if I wasn't compromised with some real nasty injuries throughout my career. So if regret, I don't like using the word, but if I do have one, it's that I got to the top of my profession but couldn't sustain it for a long period of time, and that was the only disappointment, and almost felt a little bit hapless to stop it happening. When what can you do about getting injured?
Yeah, well, that's a negative, but on the flip side, well, where do we start, hey? A treble for Liverpool, Real Madrid. I think you played alongside one or two players who weren't too shabby. Newcastle's not exactly a small side either. I mean, wonderful memories. Can you perhaps, in the very short amount of time we have, pinpoint a few?
Yeah, I mean, well, I obviously burst onto the scene with Liverpool, and then my first big thing, I suppose, was announcing myself to the world, and in the World Cup in '98, scoring against Romania, and then scoring that goal against Argentina, and then came back, and obviously in that season, my first season in the Premier League, won the Golden Boot. My second season in the Premier League, won another Golden Boot. Won the treble soon after that. 5 trophies in 1 year. We won the Super Cup and the Charity Shield, as it was then. And in the same year, won the European Player of the Year. So it was a magnificent year. Just to top it off, scored a hat-trick in Munich for England in a World Cup qualifier against our old enemy. So that was another great moment, and played for some of the biggest clubs, Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Madrid, probably 3 of the biggest 4 clubs in the world. Yeah, I mean, just fantastic, and obviously had spells at Newcastle and Stoke as well.
Yeah.
And winning the league at Man United, winning another League Cup at Man United was special. Scoring in the derby in the last kick of the game was a moment I'll never forget. And yeah, just some great highs. I think scoring in El Clasico as well wasn't bad. I think the 4 scorers on the day was Zidane, Raul, Ronaldo and Owen, so decent company.
That's not too bad, is it? That's not too bad. And Beckham was there, Roberto Carlos. I mean, it was just unbelievable, wasn't it? And of course, you mentioned the treble. You didn't mention the fact that you got 2 late goals to turn a 1-0 deficit to a 2-1 win. Everybody wants to score the winner in an FA Cup final, don't they?
They do. When I was a kid, I used to run around the street and Michael Owen in the last minute of the game, and wins the FA Cup final.
That's pretty much what you did.
And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, it was real dream come true type of stuff. And I think if I was to, say one moment, one day that I just felt absolutely on top of the world, it would have been that day. The sun was beating down. It was a cup final. Arsenal were better than us in every department, really, and to pull it out from the dead and to see the excitement on everyone's face and my own as well, just felt as if, you know, I'd done something that day. And you know, there's so many great memories, but that game was, you know, scoring two both in the dying minutes was absolutely, you know, fantastic day.
And a quick mention about England, you've touched upon it a bit. I don't know whether you're one for records or not, but they'll never take away the goals you scored for England, the 89 appearances. It's going to take a long time before you know, you shoot down that list of goal scorers. So you know, that's another part of your career.
Yeah, England was a big part of my career, and obviously breaking onto the scene so quick. I broke into the England team so quick as well, and right the way through the levels really. I represented my country at every single level and scored goals at every level, and it was England a big part of my career, my life. And unfortunately that was cut a little bit short as well. Obviously Capello didn't fancy me much, and that was almost end of story there. But while it lasted, as you say, 89 games, 40 goals was great. I think I'm fourth highest scorer of all time. Wayne Rooney will probably beat me one of these days, but no shame in that. And yeah, you know, a huge chapter in my career. And
I tell you what, okay, so it ended a little bit prematurely for you injury-wise, but that kid shouting and Owen scores the winner. I think you're an Everton fan, weren't you? You would have taken this, wouldn't you?
Not much. I mean, yeah. Listen, when you're a kid, you think to yourself, I want to play for England, I want to play for Liverpool, I want to play for Everton, whoever it might be. I want to be the best player in the world. And I felt like I got really close to that for a couple of years. You know, 18, 19, 20 years of age. I felt as if I was right up there with some of those those great players at the time, and obviously won the European Player of the Year at the time, ahead of, you know, the Zidans and the Tottis and all these great players at the time. So I mean, I was right up there for a few years, and just wished I could have stayed there for a bit longer. But still, even when I was, you know, feeling compromised through injury and losing a bit of pace through injury, you know, to still have some remarkable days, you know, like in Munich, like winning all those trophies for Liverpool and representing some of the best clubs in the world, it was still a proud moment to do all that.
Okay, Michael, well, thanks for the memories.
Thank you.